The way you talk to yourself is so important. I'm sure we've all ran into it. I've even ran into it, but sometimes when you have quote unquote negative thoughts or you don't have any not so good thoughts, it tends to throw the way you feel off. Like you may feel a little sad, you may feel mad, you may feel stressed, you may feel overwhelmed. That should be a telltale sign that your mind is genuinely powerful. I want you guys to think for a moment. Remember, there was a point in time throughout the course of your life, it could have been yesterday, years ago, whatever the case may be. But I know there was a point in time in your life where you were thinking about something and it actually happened, whether it was good or bad. And I want you to reflect and think about that moment vividly. What happened? What were you thinking? Was there something you were thinking the day before or a couple hours before and it just ended up happening? Now, let's say if it was a negative situation, right? Let's say something negative happened and you wish it was a better outcome. But in the book, throughout that process, you were thinking about something that was negative and you got a negative outcome. Now, imagine if you flipped the script and made something positive. You never thought about that, huh? You have to understand that there's something in our mind called a RAS, reticular activation system. And basically, what that controls is what we basically consume on a regular basis. So basically, it's more like our photographic memory, so to speak. So if we're constantly inputting like cars or something like that, right? So let's say if you desire a BMW M5 or something like that, right? And that's all you're looking at. You're watching videos on it. You're looking at pictures, reels and stuff on Instagram. There's gonna be a point in time where you'll be driving down the street, you're like, oh shit, that's a BMW M5, what I've been looking at. So you've been programming your mind to go out and look for the BMW M5 because that's what you're inputting. You could literally be driving down the freeway and you look to your left and the car's right there. Your mind already picked up on it. And with you putting those inputs in of you looking at the car, that's what you're programming your mind to do, think, and feel. So the moment you're inputting a bunch of BS, you're gonna get a bunch of BS throughout the course of your life. But if you have more positive inputs going in, that's from your thoughts, habits, beliefs, and habits, everything else around you starts to change. And don't primarily focus on the external world. Like, don't think about what's going on the news or what's going on with somebody else's life or what's going on with X, Y, and Z. Just focus on you because at the end of the day, everything is all within you. You have to understand that all this stuff stems from the mind. If you don't have your mind under control, you will never live the life that you always desire and you always live in fucking misery. And you have to watch the way you speak to yourself. You should always be enlightening yourself, empowering yourself, and believing in yourself. There's no time for doubt, fear, anxiety, or none of that stuff because what you will tend to see is that the more you think about depression, anxiety, and all that stuff, it's what your mind's programmed. So that's all it's gonna see is depression, sadness, people dying, and just putting all your energy into that stuff because that's what the mind is familiar with. That's all you input it with. You see stuff on the news, you see stuff on social media, you put a lot of energy towards things that don't give you any value or make your life better. And at the end of the day, we live in this world where it's always going to be another thing. There's always going to be another shooting that they're going to put on the news. There's always going to be some more bullshit about politics that they're going to put on the news. And all of that stuff is just a distraction. It's a distraction from your goals, the person you want to become, and the life you want to live. And that's why you have to understand, you have to harness what you put in your mind. You have to. And what I personally do is I get up and meditate each and every day, no matter if it's a weekend, weekday, whatever the case may be. It may take maybe 10, 15 minutes. I'm on social media, but my algorithm is things that I like and things that are going to make me better. So maybe a podcast about money. It may be a podcast or something about working out. It may be something about cars, just to have that some sort of driving factor. Not that I really need motivation because a lot of this stuff is normal to me now, but back then, like those were some of the derivatives that I used to kind of get me to where I am today. I will also listen to podcasts of people that are multimillionaires and billionaires and whatnot. And I always watch podcasts that was in alignment with what my profession was or what my career was, and I eliminated everything else, whether that was people, circumstances, or anything that was distracting me or holding me back from those opportunities. And I watched a lot of podcasts on real estate, and slowly but surely I started getting sharper. I started getting better. I started becoming more competent and started becoming more of who I wanted to become based on the work and all the inputs that I pretty much encompassed all throughout the process of me just eliminating everything that wasn't conducive to my success. And once you have a better realization of what is getting you towards your goal versus what's pulling you away, you really start to understand that the stuff that's pulling you away is draining your energy, so you don't have any energy to do the things that you want and the things that you desire and the things that are going to get the ball moving towards your goals. And that's why you have to have a level of discernment to be able to decipher whether or not this is good for me or this is bad for me. The only person that's in control of that is you. And you have to understand too, there's going to be things in your life that you have to do that no one else have to do, because your journey is different from theirs, and the requirements and skill sets and attributes that you need to get to where you want to go, they don't require. And you have to understand, if you are near a group of people that are holding you back, or they're not super ambitious or super lazy, they're not really willing to try and do new things, then you're going to encompass those habits that they're doing just because you're surrounding yourself with them. You're like, I can do it tomorrow, or it's really not that hard. I don't have to really do that right now. I'll do something else that'll entertain me or whatnot. So all this stuff is a compounding effect. And once you continuously build that habit up of doing it, it's hard to break it. And those habits that you build up today will help you down the line. Prime example. At first, maybe about 4 years ago, I started working out, right? And I never really worked out prior to, like in high school, I never really worked out. I just pretty much played basketball, and that was pretty much it. But I knew who I wanted to become, and I knew that person worked out. And the reason why they worked out is because if I push myself hard in the gym, I know that business will become easy, and I know that I'll be able to overcome any challenge that business throws at me, basically. And that's why I work out. Obviously, the look of the physique and how I look personally, like obviously that's just a result of the work I put in over the years. But obviously I do like looking good. But at the same time, it was really just building that endurance muscle to be able to endure the pain, be able to push myself, be able to have that strong self-talk, be able to push myself in uncomfortable situations. Those little things are a compounding effect, so that when I do different things or different ventures or different business opportunities, I'm always prepared for them. I'm always prepared for them. And preparation prevents poor performance. It's something that my basketball coach told me, but it's so true. Like a lot of the time, there will be guys that may not necessarily push themselves in practice, and they thought that, I can just show up to the game and play hard and do whatever. Like, no, you have to put the reps in, you have to put the work in prior to, so that when you play in the game, it becomes easy, it becomes second nature. You can read things quicker, you can understand things faster, you can see the defense, you can see where that help side is coming from. You know, if they're in the 2-3 zone, you know how to break the 2-3 zone. Oh, you see that they're trapping in the corners. All right, let's prevent the ball from going towards the corners, or if we are going to get the ball into the corner, make sure we have an exit strategy to get to the open person, because there's only 5 players on the court. So if there's somebody trapping, that means there's only 3 defenders available. And if there's 5 offensive opponents, that means somebody's open. So it's really just getting familiar with what it is that you want and really just going out there and get it. What's genuinely stopping you? The only thing stopping you is you. And I see this shit all the time, and it's like, if you think you can't make a certain amount of money, you never will. If you think you can't have that car, you never will. And you just putting yourself in that mindset will pretty much blind you from any opportunity to be able to have those things. And it's like, that's why the mind is so powerful. You have to genuinely feed yourself things that are going to be conducive to your success. It's either you're going to program yourself to be who you want to be and do what the fuck you want to do, or you will let society program you and live a life of misery. So it's up to you. Yes, it's going to be fucking challenging in the beginning phases. Yes, it's going to be hard, but you will reap the reward in the back end. And would you rather sacrifice a few years now to live the life you want in a couple years down the line, or just continue to live a life of misery for the next 60, 70 years, get put in a retirement home, and wish you could have did all the things in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s? Like, it's generally up to you. And I know that you guys generally want to do this, but at the end of the day, you have to look at that man or woman in the mirror and figure out what it is that you generally want. Sit down with yourself for a little bit. Generally figure out what it is that you want. Okay, I want this. I want that. I want to make a certain amount of money. I want to have this. I want to have that. I want to be able to do this. Just write it all down so you can get an idea. And if you don't, just sit with yourself. Just sit with yourself, sit in silence, and just relax, breathe, meditate. Just breathe in, breathe out, and really just relax and really figure out and ask yourself questions. Just ask yourself questions. Be like, all right, well, what is it that I want? Like, where do I see myself? What do I want to do? How do I want to be? How do I want people to see me in a way? And that's a direct reflection of how you treat yourself. The way people treat you is how you treat yourself. If you don't respect yourself, people won't respect you. But that's for another topic for another day. But just really genuinely sit with yourself and figure out what it is that you want. Because time is going to fly by. And there's only a finite amount of time that we have on this world. And two things that are guaranteed in life is life and death. And it's up to us to be able to determine what we do in between that time to live the best life possible and do what we want to do on our own terms. And that's a video for today. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next one.